your hosts, Nina Soul
and Patrick Wilson
of Elements, a monthly dance ritual based in Oakland, California, centered around deep and soulful Black House music. In this podcast, we host conversations with artists and creatives on dance culture. In this episode, we sat down with New York City-based, world-touring producer, DJ, dancer, Natasha Diggs. This conversation took place at Rhythm Section before our first Elements roller skate and dance party in November 2023. In this conversation, we talk about digging in the crates, the elements of a good party, and the legacy of Soul on the Horn.
What's up?
All right, peace, everyone. My name is Nina Soul.
And my name is Patrick Wilson.
And we are from the Elements crew in Oakland, California. And we are so excited to have my friend, my girl, the amazing Natasha Diggs, all the way from New York City.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with y'all.
Yeah, so excited. We're about to throw down in just a little while for our first skate jam over a couple of blocks away at Agency. But before we do that, before we serve up the beats, we wanted to just have a little conversation and get to know you, share with our Bay Area community, have them get to know you a little bit better. Our intention is really just to, talk about this culture that we love so much, this dance culture, this, dance music. There's a lot of history that I think we've all tapped into. I feel like Patrick is a living legend of this scene. And would just love to hear your perspective. And so usually we start just by asking, who is Natasha Diggs?
Who is Natasha Diggs? I am. It's hard to say what the first thing should be, right? Because it's multi-hyphenated, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I'm just an artist, a creator, a lover of life, a DJ as well. I love to dance. I'm a sharer of music, I guess you could say.
All right. I guess my first question would be, who were some of your influences as a DJ and musically?
Oh gosh, right off the bat. Okay. Some of my influences. I mean, there's so many. It's hard for me. It's like asking me what my favorite record is, kind of thing, because there's so many diverse influences, I guess. Mm-hmm. I love so many kinds of music, and so it's hard for me to like narrow it down. But I will say, for instance, I love Sly Stone, since we're here in the Bay Area.
Oh wow!
Someone like Sly Stone, who is an originator, someone who just put so much soul into the music and did things his own way and cultivated a different kind of movement around his music as well, you know?
Absolutely.
There was like revolutionary stances in it. There was, it was like he was getting all the people together, like,
Yeah, he was like integrating at a time when like there were no women musicians, exactly. There were no black and white people playing together.
Right. I mean, that in itself, like that, kind of is a basis for a lot of what I do too, I want to bring people together, Absolutely. and so that's one off the top of my head, because also just thinking about him because he just dropped his memoir and I'm about to start reading that. So many, like Shaka Khan, who just was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Fela Kuti, like on the world tip. It could go on and on.
Wow. I'm curious because I feel like we've talked about this before, coming up, listening to, obviously everything soul, R&B, hip hop, but how being a student of hip hop kind of takes you on this journey, right? Where you're digging for samples. And I feel that certainly was the case for me. Can you tell us like kind of how that journey of discovery went for you?
Definitely. So like many of us from our generation, I think hip hop was kind of like a gateway into so many other kinds of music. And I think finding as like a bedroom DJ, collecting tons of records before I ever really played any first gig and just playing in my room. And, the discovery of like finding those samples, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, my mind is opened now. Like, oh, this came from this other thing. I mean, it's funny because now today it's like you're hearing songs on the radio that have been sampled like 3 times over. It's like, it's crazy to me. And like, people are like, oh, this is the hottest new thing. And I'm like, wait, but that was sampled by that was sampled by
no, they're like, oh no, that's an SWP record. And it's like, oh my God.
So, but yeah, it was really, and I was just nerdy. Like I was like a nerdy, I mean, I guess I still am kind of nerdy, but just as far as like looking at the credits of records and, when you first start finding, you find the sample, then you find that record, like, Weather Report, and then you're going to find all the players that played in that record because you have it all. Like now it's so crazy because with Spotify, with like streaming services, with files that are randomly sent to me all the time, there's no documentation of who played what on where, and it's kind of such a lost wealth of knowledge that it's beautiful that you're doing stuff like this that allows people to discover and dive into the deeper knowledge about artists and whatever, but there's so much that's just lost, because I learned so much of my musical history and knowledge was just through reading liner notes and credits and piecing together the puzzle and being like, oh, this is on this label, oh, it's got to be hot, or this, this has this player on it, oh, I know, and it's a never-ending puzzle that you piece together. I'm still doing it now, like I'll be doing it forever, and I love it, but it is a sad thing about, I think, music right now is that a lot of that information is lost, and there's like so many amazing players on these records that will never get credited, will never get that shine, or and that's unfortunate, I think, in some ways. But I don't know, what was the actual question, because I went off on a tangent. How
how that music discovery journey brought you to disco house.
So and I think from there, just as a DJ, of course, you want to make people move, and, disco for me is just, the foundations of house. It's like just, it all kind of, and that's why I say it's like the inspirations are diverse and they all kind of intersect together, they're all a part of what I do, or, what we do as DJs. It's like, but yeah.
Very nice. So I had another quick question, because I know you do a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
As a DJ, playing everywhere. Is there any one place in particular you like to dig for music?
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm a collector. So.
Yeah. I mean, there's. Let me think. Brazil, probably. I mean, Brazil is like a whole new world for me when I go over there and dig. Like, it's the first few times, especially, I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know nothing. Like, I thought I knew a little bit. I don't know anything. Like, and I love that feeling of like, that reminder of like, oh, you don't know shit. Like, it's like, there's this whole other world. And when you tap in and find those gems, it's like, oh my God, it's just, I love Brazilian music, and and it's helping me learn Portuguese right now too. So it's something, but there's a whole nother, like just how we had the things that we gravitated towards, like there's a whole nother like culture of like version of that. There's samba rock, and then there's like bossa nova, and then there's like, there's all the different genres within that, that is going to be another whole world of discovery. So
wow.
But I do enjoy digging in Brazil.
Okay.
I feel like it was maybe in the last couple years, you started a party / movement called Dance is Life with with Abdiel. Tell us a little bit about that and kind of the roots of.
Yeah. So Dance is Life is our like free communitarian led multi-generational dance party that we do in New York City. It started out in the midst of the pandemic, actually. I was doing the Soul in the Horn stream, Global Vibrations, and Abdiel was, we had met like briefly before the pandemic at a gig that, they were dancing at, and I was DJing, and we had a moment, like I played Stevie Wonder, like another star, and we had a moment across the hall, like, and and that was the extent of our first meeting. But it was like a DJ dancer connection moment. And then, but we kept in touch, and then shortly after the pandemic hit, and so they were dancing on the stream, and then, we just decided, and they were also doing a segment called Hustle Monday Discos, where they were like, dancing, choosing a song, a disco song, classic, and doing an improv dance to it, and then engaging, hustle dance community around the globe, and inviting them to also, dance and post to that song that week. So they were doing that. I was doing Global Vibrations, and we decided as soon as we were able to, well, even before that, on Valentine's Day, I think in 2021, we decided to do a joint stream, and we did a little interview. Abdiel taught me some hustle stuff, and then we opened up the Zoom room dance room, or the global dance room, and had dancers from everywhere joining us for this. So that was the first inception of Dance's Life on the Soul in the Horn stream. And then as soon as we were able to go outside, that's later that summer, it was still a time when people were, had to wear masks and all those types of pandemic stuff. So we were like, the best place we can do this is outside. And it made sense because we chose Bethesda Fountain, which is where hustle was danced and has been danced, since the 70s. So it's a dance that started in the streets of New York City, really, and the Latin hustle. And so we decided we wanted to kind of revitalize this space and bring people back together in this historically significant space, and kind of like reclaim that. And that's what we did. We started out with like a little battery operated speaker that would die after 2.5 hours. The first day I didn't even have a table. We got a box from the pretzel vendor down the street in Central Park, and I set up that and had a little controller, and it was just really one of those, like, we were just determined to do something and to make it happen, and to invite the hustle community together after everyone had been away from interacting. And it was such a potent time for that, because we had all been so separated, and we weren't in contact, and we weren't touching, there was so much fear around, can you imagine partner dancing? Like after we haven't touched each other. And so it was kind of like, it felt in the moment like a revolutionary moment of like, okay, we're going to do this, because we, both Abdiel and I are so passionate about the healing power of dance and communing, and what it means to connect on the dance floor, what it means to dance with somebody, and to share and to mirror. And that's something so special about partner dancing and hustle and Latin hustle. And so yeah, that's kind of where it started. And we just kept going from that pretzel box. We, eventually got like a proper sound system, and we've been blessed to be supported by the Mellon Foundation, and we got a grant that helped us to provide for our last season, which was amazing. And the movement has grown, and just, people are coming, to commune with each other and dance with each other. And it's a free, like, open to everybody type of function that we really wanted. That was kind of like a big part of it. It's like we wanted to create a space where it was super accessible, and we're still doing a lot of work to make it even more accessible for our disabled community, for, just to make sure that it's really a welcoming space for all. And yeah, so I think that answered the question.
That's really beautiful. I love the intention. And for somebody that maybe hasn't heard about hustle dance or doesn't know about the importance of New York City and that backdrop. Can you like give a little bit of context?
I wish Abdiel was here because they're really the historian on this. But
we'll do a follow-up with
we'll have to, yes. But I'll do my best here. I mean, the Latin hustle was born in the Bronx, pretty much, from black and brown kids who were, a lot of immigrants, like, came out of like salsa and the different dance forms from a lot of Latin culture, and mixed in with, what was going on in the streets and a lot of their the music of their parents, like infiltrating into what was happening now with new sounds coming about. So it was kind of born in these kind of like marginalized communities where they were just outside. It didn't even, and then as disco became popularized, or like as, it was started being danced in all the clubs, right? And a lot of people associate hustle with like John Travolta and like, but there was, that's the very commercialized, very,
the mainstream.
The mainstream concept. And it kind of, as these mainstream types of ideas and movies and things do, it kind of took away from the roots of what it was and where it sprung out of. And so I think a lot of the mission in doing this dance, and another really amazing thing about Latin hustle, is that it's always been, even back in the 70s, it's always been a partner dance that was non-gender biased. Like you could lead, you could follow, you could be a woman, you could be a man, you could be two women dancing, it did not matter. Like, and it was always a fluidity to it. Like, so somebody could start leading and then midway through the dance, they could be following. And this is something that, when people see the videos from our party and everybody dancing with everybody, like they're like, wow, this is so revolutionary. But no, this has actually been danced this way since the 70s. And this is a culture where that has always been like that. And that's something so beautiful and freeing to know. And just, it's just, we also just wanted to keep elevating that part of Latin hustle and like just sharing that knowledge, because I think a lot of people weren't aware that there has been a dance like, that has encapsulated that, and it has this freedom of movement and spirit. You can be whoever you want to be in this dance. And what is dance but a mirror to life? Life is, and that's why we call it Dance is Life, because it's the beauty of, how you move through life, how you reflect with other humans. And I don't know, it's so special to me. I love it.
Absolutely. I had a question about Soul in the Horn. That being your brand, the idea behind Soul in the Horn and how that all came about.
Well, I got to give props to Dee Prosper, who is my co-founder in Soul in the Horn. Dee actually had a playlist that he had created back in the day called Soul in the Horn, and, like spanning all music genres, but like with the thread of being like this horn. So it's like Pharoah Sanders and Fela Kuti and, to disco, to hip hop, like to all the elements. So when we came together to, create a new party, he was like, let's do the Soul in the Horn theme. I'm like, okay, cool. I love music with horns in it. That sounds great to me. Like, I'll play some Kool and the Gang any day. So we did that, and it started in a little Cuban jazz bar in the Meatpacking District. And there was this incredible, the percussionist, Pedrito Martinez, was doing a Friday night, it was a Friday night residency there. And we were like the only people that they let do like a DJ thing after or whatever. So at the time I was touring with Lauryn Hill, it was like we had been in another venue. She was doing all small venues, like she was doing tiny venues. So this was like the sister venue of one of the venues that we were at. So they're like, okay, we'll try this out or whatever. So we would basically turn this little jazz bar into like this dance party, and it was really sexy and really cute. And we had all the horn players just coming through, like, you know, and like from the very first one, Maurice Movetta Brown, incredible trumpet player, producer, artist. He was the first at the very first soul in the horn, and so it was an organic type of thing, but it kind of, you know, from there on, it was like, oh, then all of a sudden everybody was coming with their horns. Like, basically, you could get in, like, all the kids, as long as they had a horn with them. It didn't even need an ID. You just have to bring your horn. Like, they started to know. Because a lot of the kids who, like, even a lot of the players who I work with on sessions today for my own productions and stuff, they've been coming to Soul in the Horn since they were not old enough to be in the club, you know? Wow. But it's beautiful to see that, because it was just, even for them, and a lot of them always talk about, like, yeah, that just gave me so much of a different musical education or knowledge, because a lot of the players, like, they're playing, like, solely in jazz clubs, or, you know, like, those are the gigs that are available, like, a lot of times, like, when you're coming up as, or so I think it was just, yeah, it was a beautiful synergy of, like, you know, just now it's like the horn section comes and I love it. Did
you have any idea that it would grow into what it is now?
You know how it is. Like, you do something because you love it, and
Absolutely.
because you're in the moment, right? You don't, I think the hope was maybe that, but I didn't know what it was going to be, because, you know, it started so small. I just wanted a residency. I wanted, like, something that, you know, we could gather our friends, and, like, you know, somewhere where I could explore musically, and just, you know, it's like one of those, if you know, if you don't see what you want, then you create it, or, you know, and that was what we did. And I'm really proud of what it has become and what it continues to grow into, and that just, it can be a beautiful platform for so many people. That was also a big part of what it was about, and what it will continue to be about is just, you know, being able to, you know, we always would have, like, some kind of, like, legendary, or, you know, somebody, like, maybe who's been around for a minute, but also, like, highlighting somebody up and coming within that. And I think that's a really important part of, you know, keeping traditions and keeping culture moving. Like, multi-generational stuff is, like, I'm all about that, because we can't exist without learning from each other, you know, in those generations, you know.
Well, much respect to you and Dee Prosper for coming, you know, up with this concept, because I feel like it's something that's been missing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really needed, especially now. So
thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
Much respect for that.
Yeah, and I just appreciate how y'all center the music and the musicians, and you know, the people that make these records so memorable, and so, you know, we love it. And kind of connected to that, you know, you're someone obviously that has your own events that you do. You travel all over the world. You play a lot of different parties. You know, what would you consider to be, like, the core elements of, you know, a good function, you know, party?
You know, it's crazy, because I am kind of spoiled a little bit, because I live in New York, and the community is just so rich there, and the culture and the passion for dance and music is just so alive, and I'm just so grateful for that. And it, you know, because it's been there for so long. So I get that that's not everywhere, and that's okay. But I think it's just that passion, I think, like, people who want to contribute to the event, people who want to, like, be a part of it, in whatever way, like, whether that's you dancing, whether that's, you know, coming to play, or, you know, I don't know, just, I think that can grow anywhere. It's just about having a passion and a vision for that, you know. And but to me, it's like dancers, like, you know, I want to see people dancing. Literally, I mean, like, that's, you know, as DJs, that's what motivates us. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, it's not that fun if no one's dancing.
Well, I had another question.
Yeah.
As a DJ, you know, a lot of people progress into actually producing, and I know I've heard a few things that you have produced, and
yeah.
is that something that you feel like you're gonna continue to dive into?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been a long time dream of mine to produce more, and I think just like anything, it maybe like it was about overcoming some obstacles of the mind, or and just finding the flow of that. And now I'm in a place where I really found that, and I'm having so much fun with it.
Nice.
And now I'm just hoping that I can actually just stop having fun and finish some stuff. Because like I don't, and honestly for me, but that's what it is. It's really about the process for me. Like I really love the process of making and creating, and I have so much fun. Like, I mean, I think it's also about finding the balance, because I have been mostly focused, or like, I don't know, it's just, that's the direction, the trajectory that my career has taken, is that I'm touring a lot and I'm traveling a lot. And now I'm like, damn, I wish when I was actually at home and like that I had focused my energy on making music more, like, and not been so afraid, or not, whatever the thing was that was holding me back, of just feeling like I didn't know what I was doing or whatever. But now that I finally feel like I have a flow, yeah, but it's just about finding the balance with that. But yeah, it's definitely part of the future trajectory, and just,
nice.
Creating music I want to hear, just the same way, like, you create a party. If it's not there, there's so much amazing music that I'm inspired by right now. So I just want to do my part to create with my friends as well.
Is there a certain approach that you take to remixing or producing something?
What is the approach? I love collaboration. I love to like get my friends involved. I love to like have fun with it. I know so many insanely talented musicians and artists, and I think it is fun to make music on your own, make beats and like and do all that, but it's even more fun when you can get all your friends involved as well. And I think from the records and stuff that like are the root of my inspiration, it's like those are all records that had like 20 players on them. Like like you look at those Quincy Jones productions and stuff, it's like every track had like so I know that's like not always possible for to get 1 billion people on a record, and like it can be costly and all those things, but I do love the spirit of that. Like it's almost like dancing by yourself versus dancing with somebody, and there's something special and magical about that. Like yesterday I was at a party, it was great. But one thing I was like, man, I just miss my hustle community. I miss like seeing people interact with each other, like that is like missing in a lot of spaces, and or just like even facing each other, like whatever that is. Like I don't know, I think there's something special in connection and working off of the energy of people, like in these spaces, and I don't know, I'm enjoying that part of it.
Nice.
Yeah, we definitely need more of that. Don't look at the DJ, like look at each other. I feel like it's been a lot of people speaking out about that. Well, I'm conscious that we have a party to throw, so I want to ask maybe just one more question. As someone that's like just learning how to get into production, a lot of what you said resonated. What would you say to someone out there that maybe is thinking about DJing, or is thinking about producing, or is thinking about throwing a party, and what words of encouragement?
I think just start. That would be the first thing. Take a step, whatever. Like take some kind of focused, directed, like intentional, like step forward, like whatever it is. It can be a small step, it can be a big step, whatever. But like I think just starting, like we can mill over things in our head forever and ever and be like, oh, this and that, but until you just like get your hands dirty or just go in, and like it can feel scary, but like the thing that like at one point DJing felt scary to me, or I felt like, and now it's just like it's just fun, or it's just it's something that you just do and you don't think about it. And one day that thing that you're afraid of or that you think is so daunting will just become like second nature to you. And it's like, so just remembering that, it's like, seeing the long game, like seeing the vision, like seeing what you want to create, like having it in your mind's eye, like the feeling you want to feel when it's completed, and then going for that. I mean, I'm really big on visualization and like creative visualization, and I feel like that's how I create my whole life. Basically, is it starts with an intention, but then yeah, you have to take a step forward, or just move in it. It's like don't delay, because like you could still be 10 years from now still have this idea, and in 10 years you could also have mastered that idea, so just go for it. And if you feel this desire or this passion for something, or like that you want to do something, it means that you're probably supposed to do it. Because like unless it's if it's something that comes from within, like a lot of times the things that other people tell us that we should be doing might not be the thing we're supposed to be doing. But if it's something that comes from within and everyone else is like, I don't know if you should do that, you really got to trust your own gut over anyone else. Because this is like, I have a strong belief that the things that you are meant to do, the things that you love and that you're passionate about, the universe will find a way to provide for you. It will, because that's what you're here to do. That's what we came here to do. The things that you love to do is what, like, we're not supposed to be doing jobs that make us miserable, or we're not supposed to be technically doing stuff that makes us unhappy. Like, we're supposed to live our best lives here. We've just been conditioned by a lot of other outside things that has told us like, oh no, you got to do this, you got to do that. And like, I'm not saying like, be crazy and impractical and like, but I think, but yeah, you have to, you should believe that it's possible to live your dreams. Yeah. I think that's important.
Very well said.
Well said. You're such an inspiration to so many of us. Thank you for spending some time.
Yeah, this was fun. I was like, we're just getting started.
I know it's just like DJing. But we gonna have some people show up to a venue without any DJs, so we're gonna wrap here. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
And peace.